Welcome, trainers, to a journey down memory lane, where we play through each Pokemon generation and talk about our experiences, starting with Generation 1, the Kanto region. My name is Chris, I'm the normal trainer, and I'm playing Pokemon Blue. I'm also joined by my two fellow co-hosts.
My name is Sean, I'm the Pokemon Master, and I'm playing Pokemon Red.
And my name is Dustin, I'm the Pokemon Hunter, and I'm playing Pokemon Yellow.
And we are known as the Trainer Trio. In our last episode, we acquired the Volcano Badge and beat the Quizmaster himself, Blaine. Since then, we participated in a round-robin battle on Pokemon Showdown to see who really had the best team. Sean, would you like to describe how this went?
Going in, the first match was me against Dustin, and this match, Dustin was able to get half my Pokemon to fall asleep with his sleep powders and with his using hypnosis.
This is the first time I'm battling with 6 fully evolved Pokemon, so I think this is my best shot. Because last time I still had an Execute, but this one finally has an Executor.
So you're saying once when I beat you again, you'll really have no excuses then?
I mean, hey, I've never fought with a full team of fully evolved Pokemon either, you know. I got that Pikachu.
Dustin never will then.
It's fun looking at, I'm looking at all my teams from Brock to Giovanni and just seeing the team of Brock of Charmander and Rattata all the way up to Charizard and, well, Rattata's gone.
You literally have just Rattata for one gym, and then you went down to 3 Pokemon again.
Yeah, I had 4, and then I went down to 3, and it was 3 for 2 gyms in a row. It took me a while. I'm really hoping to get past Gen 1 for this reason here, that sleep is overpowered. There's just too much weird wonkiness in Gen 1 that we need to get past.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. Oh my god.
Ooh.
Critical hit too, oh my god.
No.
Let's do this, come on, get faith.
No, I just lost now because
That's the sleep strats. I realize I have 2 Pokemon that use sleep tactics, so I should start using them more often.
I mean, you won against me, so there's nothing I could do here.
It's not over until it's over.
That's true, you still have 1 Pokemon.
Then he hits a Psychic and I lose.
It's not over until it's over.
Oh, we did it. Let's go. We beat him. Yeah. Woo.
Only took 6 gyms. This is Blaine. This is...
Yep, 7 gyms to beat Sean.
And so he actually pretty easily defeated me. So I finally did lose. It was quite a sad occurrence because, as I said, most of my Pokemon were asleep and there's nothing I could do. Yeah, so Dustin is pretty happy that he finally got the monkey off his back and beat me. And I finally got my first loss, which is very sad, but, you know, all good things have to come to an end eventually.
You still locked in the number 1 seed.
I did. So I could lose every other match for the rest of this and it won't even matter. But I hope that doesn't happen. And next, I went up against Chris. And this was a really close fight. This time, Chris actually had, I think we mentioned in Gen 1, every move has a chance to miss. It's, what were the odds again for that, Chris?
I believe it's 1 in 256.
Yeah, so Chris had a move that in later generations always hits, and he had that actually miss. And it missed? Wow.
Oh my god, that was a 1 in 256 glitch.
It was.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Now you're getting the luck. Oh my god. I got the 1 in 256 glitch. You paralyzed me twice. I've been paralyzed once. That was just the worst luck.
This is a close match. You're both down to 3 Pokemon.
Oh no.
Critical hit. Oh, dang.
Critical hit. Oh, we're getting down to the wire. This is fun. Oh, he's asleep. Nice.
Oh no, we're down to the last Pokemon. It's Madam the King is gone versus Nessie the Lapras. Both paralyzed. Is it? Oh!
Oh, wow. Dang.
Oh.
Good job, Chris. We did it.
The amount of times I brought you down to your last Pokemon, I was like,
Eventually, it came down. It was a 3v3 Chris was able to take down my other 2 Pokemon, and then it was just my Kangaskhan against his last 3. And Kangaskhan was able to take down 2 of his Pokemon until his Kangaskhan against Lapras. They're both paralyzed, and he was able to hit the blizzard that took down Kangaskhan. So, unfortunately, I did not win a single match this time. But again, I feel happy for my co-hosts that they finally were able to beat me. But we'll see if they're able to do it again in the future. Moving on to the final battle. This one was really close. It was Dustin versus Chris. Chris had the benefit of watching my match against Dustin, so he was able to at least somewhat coordinate his team to start out. And eventually the same thing kind of happened that happened in mine and Chris's, where it was down to 3v3 again. And I mean, beforehand, there was a lot of switching involved, a lot of sleep powders.
Oh no.
Oh, what? Oh, no.
That dealt some damage there.
Let's see, am I faster than you? I got lucky with that first sleep powder miss. Of course, you're the only one who can get a Machamp because we can't trade.
He's alright. I'll let him take one for the team.
Why does your Executor know any grass type moves, Chris?
It wasn't part of my strategy. I mean, it doesn't really learn any good grass moves except Solar Beam.
But Mega Drain?
I should have taught it that over Egg Bomb.
You can't put my Pokemon to sleep.
What a tank Cloyster is, dang.
I was looking at something where basically Cloyster has one of the best stats, aside from like Dragonite in the first gen. Now we're tied 3-3.
How?
Let's go, Scyther.
Gonna clean up. Oh, is Chris gonna survive here? Oh, you should have. Why'd you go for the Swords Dance, Dustin?
Let's see if that comes back to hurt you.
Oh, we did it. I am the champ of Gen 7, or Gym 7.
That was good. That was a bunch of really good battles, I think.
It was a really close fight until eventually Dustin's Cypher came out and kind of almost cleaned until Dustin decided to try a Swords Dance there because he got a little greedy. But it didn't matter because his Hypno came in and then Dustin was able to win. So it's about time that someone other than me did that.
I went 2-0 this time around, so it feels very nice.
It is nice. Dustin, then, do you have the updated stats on how we're doing?
I do.
Oh, Sean. Sorry for the disrespect there. Sean, what are the updated stats?
Yeah. So I am now 12-2. Dustin is 5-9, and Chris is 4-9. And just to remind our audience, these stats do actually mean something because they're going to allow us to decide our starters in the next generation. And so I have already kind of clinched the top spot. So I already know what starter I'm going to pick. I won't spoil that for you guys, but the fight for second is very much alive and well. So Dustin and Chris, we have 2 more fights left. We're going to do one after this gym that we just talked about in this episode, and then one more after the Elite Four. So those are going to be very, very close fights between Dustin and Chris that they're going to very much want to win, whereas I'm just kind of enjoying it, doing my victory lap now.
Thank you very much for that, Sean. We're going to be heading into the PokeStats segment, where we're going to just do a quick recap of last episode's stats, where we're at currently. So one of the big reasons why I believe I went 2-0 is that my average Pokemon level was around 48, whereas Sean was at 44 and Chris was 45. So you guys were a little bit more closer and I was 3 levels up. We all gained around the same average levels. We all gained around like 4 levels on average per Pokemon since our last time we battled each other. And our Pokédexes, so me and Chris actually captured more Pokemon than me in our last episode. He captured 9, I captured 8, and Sean only captured 1. So our total Pokédexes currently is I'm at 108, Chris is at 63, and Sean is at 34. So we got a good divide there. And then finally, for the times, I played the last episode around 5 hours and 10 minutes. Chris was at 4 hours, and Sean was at 3 hours and 22 minutes. So just for our total times, I'm at 38 hours and 33 minutes. Sean is at 26 hours and 33 minutes, and Chris is at 25 hours and 6 minutes. So we're all definitely playing quite a bit of this game.
Thank you, Dustin. You guys ready to jump into continuing our journey?
Might as well.
Let's do it.
So in this episode, we're going to recap our journey to Viridian City, the final gym of the Kanto region. We're going to take a quick swim up through Route 21, arrive again back at home at Pallet Town, skim through Route 1 and 2 to get to Viridian City, face the mysterious final gym leader, and then maybe, once we have all 8 gym badges, we can go and try and get through Victory Road to get to the Indigo Plateau.
Sounds very exciting. I can't wait to get to Victory Road finally, guys.
I know, this has been quite a journey, and I'll start off by saying, I think I've said this about 100 times in this first season here, that I just love the way that Kanto is laid out, where you get a taste of the first gym at the very beginning. Before you have faced any gym, you get to see a gym there, but no one is there, so you're going to keep that in the back of your head the entire time. You've been getting hints that there are 8 gym badges to collect, so now that we've got 7, there must only be one more place to go. You have to go back home if you're facing Blaine, so I really like the way that they laid out the Kanto region to have that little quick journey and then go back to where it started.
I agree, and when you do go back to your hometown, at least for me, this was my first time back in Pallet Town. I know Sean for sure went through Pallet Town to get to Blaine. Did you do the same thing, Chris, in our last episode? I forgot.
I did, but it's always nostalgic stopping back at home.
This was the first time I went back into Pallet Town, and I was excited to talk to Professor Oak. Did you guys talk to him while you were back in town?
Nope.
I talked to my mom, but no, I didn't talk to the professor.
So he'll say something different depending on how many Pokemon you got, but obviously as a Pokemon hunter, when I talked to him, he said, "You finally got at least 100 Pokemon in your Pokedex. I can't believe how good you are." So that made me very proud to hear from, the surrogate father in this world.
Do you feel validated now that Professor Oak has sung your praises?
I don't feel validated enough because that's only 100 Pokemon. I still got 51 more to go.
Yeah, as the song goes, at least 150 are born to see, to be a Okay, I'm not going to finish that.
No, you gotta finish it, Chris.
To be a Pokemon master is my destiny.
All right, Pokemon rap time now.
Also, inside of his lab, you can go to his PC and you see he receives an email which says, "Calling all Pokemon trainers. The elite trainers of the Pokemon League are ready to take on all corners. Bring your best Pokemon and see how you rate as a trainer. Pokemon League HQ, Indigo Plateau. P.S. Professor Oak, please visit us." So it looks like they're desperate for him to visit them.
Interesting.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if he also gave all the Elite Four their first Pokemon, and now they just also want him to validate them, like how he just validated me. And before we move on from this, did you guys know about a glitch where apparently they actually have a team for Professor Oak that you can only play him in a glitch, but I guess it was actually code in the game. So do you guys know anything about this?
I heard about this. I know, based off that team, they made a ROM hack where you play as Professor Oak. And of course, whenever you play a Pokemon game, you have the option to catch any of the Pokemon, but they have like special cutscenes for each of the Pokemon on his team that I don't remember all the Pokemon, but I specifically remember that Executor is one of the Pokemon he has on his team. Yeah, they built a whole ROM hack out of that idea of Professor Oak first inventing the Pokédex and exploring the Kanto region.
Oh, wow. So I do have his team here in the levels you would have faced him at, and they would have been it would have been the hardest trainer you would have fought in the game, because he has a Tauros at level 66, an Executor at level 67, Arcanine at level 68, and then he would have whichever final Pokemon, like starter Pokemon, that you and your rival didn't take, and that would be at level 69, and then a Gyarados at level 70. So it was a pretty beefy team.
So, Dustin, you saw me do the glitch to get Mew. Did you not think that I may try to plan it out to face Professor Oak when this is all said and done?
I didn't even think that far ahead, Chris. I didn't think you'd have that much passion to really find every glitch in this game.
Check back here at the end of the pod and let's find out if Chris faced Professor Oak or not.
I hope not in this episode, because your Pokemon would not be able to take it on.
Yeah, I think the theory was for him to be the final battle after the champion. I guess they probably cut that content and really thought about it afterwards, because not to get too far ahead, but Generation 2 kind of takes that idea and runs with it. So I thought it was a little inspiration for what they would do later on.
One final thing on Professor Oak being a battler. I don't know, maybe I should save it for the Elite Four, but there is a theory that, when we start up these games, you see a Nidoran fighting a Gengar. And so there is a theory that what you're watching is Professor Oak with the Nidoran fighting against a certain Elite Four member as a championship fight. The theory builds upon that the reason you're watching a Nidoran and not a Nidoking fight is because the meteorite that hit Mount Moon hasn't hit yet. So there are no Moonstones available to evolve that Nidoran. And so that's a fun little theory. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's a fun thing just to consider with that opening little battle that we all see when starting this game.
I like that theory. We'll have to dive into that. I think I have a feeling of which Elite Four member you're talking about, so I kind of want to talk about that a bit later.
We could explore it again at a later time.
And I thought we'd have nothing to talk about, that it would just be a straight shot from Cinnabar Island to Viridian City.
I mean, that's what I did. Luckily, you guys didn't do that.
Now we head into Viridian City. So what's the first thing you guys did?
I went straight for the gym.
Yeah, I went to the gym. I don't know. Is there anything else to do? We've been to Viridian City before.
That's true. You could enjoy the sights, being back in the first real city you came into. But you go inside the gym, and the first guy I talked to was the front desk guy, who not even he knows who the gym leader is. So it's very fascinating. Like, no one knows who this 8th gym leader is, not even the people who work there.
Do you want to know who does know who the 8th gym leader is? If you read the sign on one of the statues, it'll always tell you who the gym leader is. It'll say, oh, you're fighting Brock, you're fighting Misty. This sign actually does spoil exactly who this is before you get there. So if you're a little too curious, the guy at the front, he has no idea who it is, but the sign does. But they corrected that in Fire Red and Leaf Green. If you try and read that before you have faced the 8th gym leader, it'll just have question marks.
See, and that's pretty sad. That means the greeter is not doing his job. If he has a sign right next to him that says who the gym leader is and he hasn't read it, like, come on, man.
Just makes you wonder why everyone's trying to hide his identity when they should all know who he is.
I did think, though, this is one of the more underwhelming gyms. I don't think there was a lot of interesting trainers. I think the puzzle has already been used and used better other places. I really felt like they were running out of time here, and they didn't really think this one through. And I also think that with the strength of this gym leader as well. And
just for the listeners, the puzzle for this gym was similar to our Team Rocket hideout battle, where basically you'd step on a little plate and it'll send you forward until you hit something. I am not too much a fan of these puzzles because you kind of just walk and see what happens, basically. But there was a cool trainer type. This was the first time we actually encountered a cool trainer male. And this is also the trainer sprite is holding a whip, and they're like in this cool little action pose. And there's also another tamer trainer with another whip. There's a lot of whips going on towards this section of the game, I feel.
There's a lot of whips in Generation 1.
Well, I think I mentioned earlier that the idea was for the Pokemon trainers to be like tamers, like animal tamers. And so a lot more trainers had the whips, the connotation of how people in real life train animals, but it was eventually dialed back a little bit because of the violence associated with the whips. There is a lot of whip sprites for trainers that you see.
Yeah, and the tamer Pokemon trainer, he actually says, your Pokemon will cower at the crack of my whip. So it seems like this is definitely something that they didn't update after they decided not to have the Pokemon trainers use their whips in battle, because I was afraid in that battle that he's actually going to be attacking my Pokemon. So do you have any actual stories against all the smaller trainers, or shall we head straight into the gym leader?
You know me, I always have to comment on these Gen 1 sprites, but usually, you know, I haven't had the nicest of commentary on the sprites. But this time, I saw a Tauros for the first time. I thought it looked pretty good. And also Nidoking, which is such a detailed sprite. Even in this first generation, I thought they really nailed the design. And so those were just the two of the trainers I encountered, but no real stories with the actual fighting the trainers. Well, actually, one story. Going into this gym, I decided I wanted to start using some of the TMs that I've just kind of like stocked away, specifically the more high power, low accuracy TMs. So I decided for a lot of my Pokemon that I've kind of been neglecting giving TMs, I gave them some TMs. And so that, I mean, by the end of this episode, when we do our next round robin, you're going to see like my Pokemon gained like no levels, but they have some of them have quite a few different attacks. So that was my only real change to my party at this point.
Yeah, I don't have any good, interesting stories. I was using this opportunity to train up Nessie, my Lapras, just because she was caught later on. She was level 25 when I got her. So I figured there were going to be some favorable gyms at the end with Blaine and with the 8th gym leader here. So I just used Nessie a bunch just to train up. And let me tell you, water types are really good against ground types. And that is, yet again, part of the criticism I have here, that having just one monotype, this gym leader cannot be that intimidating when you go down to Surf 5 times in a row. Should we have the grand reveal who this 8th gym leader is?
Yeah, Chris, why don't you share who it is?
I'm so excited. It's the Italian stereotype himself, Mr. Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket.
What? This makes me interested in what was happening in this Pokemon world before we showed up. Because, I don't know how many trainers have Pokédexes, so, and then Giovanni presumably was the 8th gym leader before he became a Team Rocket leader. So what ended up happening where he decided to stop being a gym leader and be a game leader, and just, I don't know, a lot of interesting stuff that was happening in this world before we decided to be the main character of it.
When you walk up to him and talk to him for the first time, realizing it's Giovanni, he does mention he plans to resurrect Team Rocket here at this gym. Just the way he uses the term resurrect makes me think I guess we did just completely defeat 2 hideouts that Team Rocket were in. So did we just single-handedly wipe out their entire organization? Now he's just in this gym recruiting these oddball trainers to join Team Rocket again?
Looks like it.
I think we did. And I like to believe that Giovanni's a gym leader for money laundering purposes, that this is his little side hustle, and he's able to not only capture all the Pokemon in the world, but make a lot of money and get it taxable so that the IRS doesn't attack him.
Are you telling me there's an IRS in the Pokemon universe?
Yes. I mean, have you ever been to a Poke Center before? It's free, and who's paying for that? Your tax dollars.
What taxes, Chris? I didn't pay any taxes during my game. I don't know what taxes you're paying.
Moving into his team, though. So for Pokemon Yellow, he had a Dugtrio level 50, a Persian level 53, Nidoqueen level 53, Nidoking level 55, and a Rhydon level 55. Let me just compare that to the last gym Pokemon. So I would say Blaine, his highest level Pokemon, was level 54 compared to Giovanni's level 55. So from here, there's not too much of a jump, other than he does have more Pokemon than Blaine. How about you guys for Pokemon Red and Blue?
In Pokemon Red and Blue, he has a Rhyhorn level 45 with only normal type moves. He has a Dugtrio level 42. He has a Nidoqueen level 44. Also only knows Scratch, Tail Whip, Body Slam, and Poison Sting. What a great Nidoqueen. Nidoking level 45. A little stronger. Tackle, Horn Attack, Poison Sting, Thrash. And then his strongest Pokemon. This is actually the first level 50 Pokemon that Sean and I have faced. It is a level 50 Rhydon, which knows Stomp, Tail Whip, Horn Drill, and Fissure. And I need to double check one thing real quickly, but if I'm correct. So this Rhydon that he has 2 one-hit KO moves. Both Fissure and Horn Drill are one-hit KO moves, and the way that they operated in Generation 1 is that they have 30% accuracy. However, if the person using it is slower than the targeted Pokemon, it will always fail. So putting 2 one-hit KO moves on a Rhydon, which is traditionally a little bit of a slower Pokemon, is not the best strategy. And something I mentioned in a previous podcast episode. X accuracies bypass the accuracy check. So that is one way to break Generation 1, is to have these one-hit KO moves on a fast Pokemon, use X accuracy, and it can never miss. You're just going to take down everyone. Crazy how that's the first level 50 Pokemon, because I know, Dustin, you faced your first level 50, I believe, all the way back with Koga.
I've had 4 gyms at level 50.
That's crazy, but it also explains why your Pokemon are so much higher levels than ours.
Yellow, it starts easier and then becomes much harder.
And also, talking about the movesets, I know his Nidoking knew Thunder, which was crazy for Pokemon Yellow, so that took out my Cloyster, who was one of my MVPs at the time.
I want to say that's an anime reference, but I might be wrong. But I think that's why they gave his Nidoking Thunder. Then again, like I said, I might be wrong, but it's been a while since I've watched the anime.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I forgot how Ash got his final badge. I don't believe he faced Giovanni for that 8th badge, but I cannot remember for the life of me what he did.
Oh, dang, it's been a while, but I want to say it's an anime reference. At the same time, I might be just completely wrong there. But so how was everyone's actual fight with Giovanni?
I'll be short and sweet. I used Surf 5 times, and his Pokemon went down 5 times.
That's what I tried to do with Cloyster until that Nidoking just came out with Thunder.
See, that's smart. They gave Nidoking type coverage in Pokemon Yellow. That's something they did not do here.
Yeah, I just used Blastoise and used Surf 5 times too, so it wasn't exciting at all.
What a sad, underwhelming battle. Like, for the last gym leader, gym number 8, and they just couldn't really put it together. Kind of disappointing.
This was already someone you've beaten before.
Twice.
You've beaten him twice so far. So that's just another kind of disappointing thing. I mean, it's cool that you're fighting against this big bad boss as a gym leader, but it would have been, I think, a little bit cooler if this was your first time facing him.
It would be. Oh well.
You do obtain the Earth Badge, and you can now train Pokemon to any level and enter the Pokemon League. He does give you TM27 Fisher, and apparently Giovanni made this TM when he ran the gym too long ago, so I guess this was before his Team Rocket days. Did you guys, after this battle, talk to him again?
I did.
No.
Sean, did you write down the notes for that?
I also, it's funny that you mentioned that he made Fissure, because I noted that too, because that's just super interesting. That makes me think, how are TMs made? Does that mean like he legit made a Pokemon move? That's really impressive.
I guess just to talk a little bit about that, the TMs are discs though. So I don't know how Pokemon learn them, but they are like CDs, it looks like, just from their icons.
They are, yeah. Makes you wonder if they're somehow related to Porygon, that's so funny. Porygon was noted as the only man-made Pokemon, but later we go into these games, you're going to find there's many more man-made Pokemon. But anyways, going back to what we're talking about, when you talk to Giovanni again, he says that he'll start studying Pokemon and disband Team Rocket. This has kind of been a theme for me. Giovanni, my memory, I thought he was a really bad guy, leading Team Rocket, the big bad organization of this generation. But he really wasn't that bad of a guy. The first time you beat him, he's like, oh, I wish to see you again. And it just takes you to beat him. He's like, oh, I'm just going to study Pokemon now. I don't know. I don't feel bad towards him. Like, I feel sympathy for him, if anything.
That's true. He says, let's meet again and farewell. And the screen actually goes to black and he disappears. And that actually kind of made me feel a little bit sad. I mean, maybe because we're getting closer to the end of the game too. But compared to like Blue, my rival, every time you meet him and you beat him, he's just like, smell you later. But this Giovanni guy, he's so like official and nice. Such a stark contrast between the two.
I do like that, and you guys are convincing me to talk to the gym leaders after I beat them now. That's something I need to do.
That was literally the first time I've done that. I think it was towards halfway through playing this game that I did start talking to people after beating them again, just because there's a lot of cool lore and text you can read from that. And finally, before leaving the gym, I decided to talk to the front desk guy again, because earlier he blew me off saying that, hey, like, I don't know who the gym leader is. And once when you talk to him, he says, blow me away, Giovanni was the leader. Like, he was all surprised. So who knows if he was actually surprised or not.
Yeah, how does this work? Is he not allowed to go to the front of the gym?
See, and then the thing is, too, like, imagine, okay, he only watched this fight because we fought him. we all know our rival fought him beforehand, so he just didn't care when the rival fought, and he just waited for you to watch your fight?
That's true, and now he's gone again, so no one else can beat him. Let's go into the Pokestats of this episode. Starting off with the total time played, I think we'll start off with the person who probably has the least. Let's start off with Chris.
So my time after beating Giovanni was 27 hours and 54 minutes.
And Sean?
Mine is 27 hours and 8 minutes.
Oh, I see what happened here.
Wow, Chris. I thought you were supposed to be the speedrunner here.
Wow, Chris actually spent some time on this episode. For me, I finished at 39 hours and 8 minutes. Obviously, that's still 10 hours more than everyone. But if we look at just this episode, both me and Sean played 35 minutes to beat this gym from our last gym. Exactly. So that's quite surprising. Chris spent 2 hours and 48 minutes. What was Chris doing there?
Yeah, Chris, what were you doing there? You got lost or something?
I got bored and started catching Pokemon and trying to catch up to Dustin in the Pokedex.
That's true. Let's go over Pokedexes. Let's start off with Sean this time.
My Pokedex is at 34. Massive shocker. It's the same exact level that it was last time.
Chris?
I'm at 86.
Oh,
wow.
That's a big jump, Chris. I am at 108 Pokemon still too, so both me and Sean did not capture a single Pokemon there, and Chris got 23, so that's quite a big jump.
It shows where all that time went.
Yeah, well, you guys were taking so long to complete these episodes that I got bored and started catching some Pokemon.
Whoa. No need for aggression, Chris.
Finally, we can go over our Pokemon team and levels. Let's start off with Chris.
All right, let's do it. I started off with Nessie, the Lapras, at level 43. I have Ave, the Jolteon, at level 46. Sandy, the Sandslash, at level 46 as well. I have Greg, the Executor, now at level 48. And I delayed that evolution, by the way, because Execute learns Sleep Powder at level 48, so I waited all the way until then to evolve it, and it was worth it. And then we have Char the Charizard at level 46, and Purdy the Persian at level 46.
Okay, so Sean, go for it.
I have Shenron the Dragonair at level 45, Queenie the Nidoqueen at level 45, Madam the Kangaskhan at level 45, Vulpix the Flareon at level 45, Bleu the Blastoise at level 46, and Lightyear the Electabuzz at 44. So I believe I only had like 2 Pokemon gain a level.
It does look like you're both pretty even so far, so I will be going over my levels. So my levels, I had Victory Bell at level 47, Scyther at level 49, Machamp, who is named as Bricky just because of the trainer had the trade, I can't change that name sadly, at level 49, Pikachu level 49, Hypno level 50, and Cloyster level 50. So I definitely had to beef up my Pokemon, just because I'm battling against all these level 50 Pokemon now.
It kind of makes sense, though, that you swept us the last round, Robin, because you have, like, nearly 5 levels on our Pokemon.
That's very true. So, just looking at, the average levels we all gained around the same, which was like half a level. But Chris and Sean are at average level 45, and I'm at average level 49. Before we head further past this, I think this would actually be a good time to do our Poke Quiz. What do you guys think?
We can do it now. We just got our 8th gym badge. That means we should be masters.
Yeah, I am the pastor.
So, Poke Quiz. So now that we have all 8 gyms, we're heading into the Pokemon League. Obviously, Blaine had this cool little quiz where you had to answer all his questions before you can face him. So I thought it would be cool if maybe a slightly more difficult, or at least try to include more aspects of the game into this quiz. So it is 10 questions. How we're going to do this is if you guys can just message me so you can't give away the answers to each other. So starting off with question number 1. This is going to be an easy one. What Pokemon does Pidgey evolve into? So I am getting that one just from, obviously, Blaine asked if Caterpie evolves into Butterfree. And I thought this one might be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so got answers in. You both guessed correct. It is Pidgeotto. The reason I decided to put this because Pidgeotto and Pidgeot, usually the final evolution has a longer Pokemon name. I can trick you guys up. Question number 2. What are the 4 Pokemon that can evolve when traded? So I know this was asked.
We already did this.
This was asked previously, but we did not all get it correctly the first try.
Are we asking which Pokemon evolve or what their final evolutions are?
Which Pokemon evolve, not their final evolution.
My autocorrect is not doing me any favors here.
As long as it's similar, I will not take points away for type.
I think you should.
I think we got the answers in. I'm going to have to take points away from Sean here.
What?
Sean put Graveler, Machamp, Kadabra, and Haunter.
It's supposed to be Machoke.
Chris got correct with Kadabra, Machoke, Haunter, and Graveler. So that was a close one.
You think the champ evolves?
Dimmadang.
Question number 3. Can you name a Pokemon that evolves from the following stones? The Fire Stone, Thunderstone, Water Stone, Leaf Stone, and Moonstone.
We need to name all of them?
All of them. One Pokemon per stone. Just think, one for each stone.
Oh. So we can name different Pokemon for each stone?
Yeah.
Oh. Can we say Eevee for all of them?
Well, obviously, this is the first generation. Chris is taking a little while to take his answer.
Okay, I submitted my guess. Hopefully I got the Water Stone right. I was blanking on Water Stone.
We'll start with Firestone. Sean said Flareon. That's from his Flareon. And then Chris said Vulpix. That's Ninetales, right?
Ninetales, yeah.
Oh, I did the first evolutions for all of them.
I mean, I think it's fine because...
now it's fine? Wow.
No, I can't. I can't take that back. Now it's fine.
Wow. This is rigged.
We'll go with the Thunderstone next. So Chris said Pikachu. Sean said Jolteon. Oh, you're taking all the Eevees. And then for Water Evolution, Sean said Vaporeon. Chris said Staryu into Starmie. I believe that's correct. You got that. Leaf Stone. Sean said Vileplume. We got the typo there. And then Chris said Execute. And then finally for the Moonstone, Sean said Nidoking. And Chris said Clefairy. So good job. You guys did not actually repeat there, which is kind of pretty cool there. So that's 100 all around on question number 3. So number 4. Which Pokeball is a prototype and which company made it? So this is a 2-answer question. Alright, you both answered correctly. Master Ball and Silph Co. So now I'm trying to throw in some Pokemon lore. See if you're paying attention to the story. What did the Warden lose inside the Safari Zone? Ooh, so... Sean, I might have to give half points. He said his dentures, which is kind of correct, but specifically what Chris mentioned, his gold teeth.
This is rigged.
You could give him the points.
He only got half of that.
This is rigged.
Where's the gold? So I'm gonna have to give Sean half points on that one. So now question number 6. This one's gonna be a little more difficult. Can you name the badges we obtained thus far?
Oh, fun.
Sean apparently would like to forfeit this one by saying no.
Well, I could try, but...
Well, this is your chance to catch up to Chris.
Chris knows these badges. I don't.
Yeah, I had to say them at the beginning of each episode.
Exactly.
How are we scoring this? There were 8 badges, and I know I got one wrong.
It's out of 8. I'm doing it basically like each question's worth 1 point, and then it's basically you're getting a percentage. Alright, so Sean did it. Oh, you actually had badge to each one. Chris did not, so you automatically lose. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Let's go in order. So we got the Boulder badge, Cascade badge, Thunder badge, Rainbow badge, which I think Chris got that one wrong. He said Leaf badge.
Wow, Chris.
Then we got the Soul badge. We got the Marsh badge, which Sean got that one wrong. He said Swamp. Then we got the Volcano badge, which Sean got that one wrong. Flame badge. And then we literally said this one this episode, but Earth badge, and Sean said the last badge.
Can't remember.
Oh boy.
We also said it this episode. Last time, we faced Blaine and received the Volcano badge.
Yep. Did not hear that.
We need Sean to pay more attention, it looks like.
You made it sound like you didn't know any of them, and you got the first 5.
I'm impressed I did.
So, can you name what Pokemon is the first one in the Pokédex? 001. Alright, answers are in. You both got it correct. Bulbasaur, that's actually really good. Sean, he gets extra points.
Because technically, Victini became the first Pokemon in the 5th generation. They made it, I think, 000.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't wait to play that one and find out, like, what's the lore behind that.
Yeah, we don't have access to any of the events, so we'll never actually encounter it.
I used to have a Victini. They had a download when the game first came out. That cartridge is long gone.
I have a Victini in the newest one because they did, for not this past world, but last worlds, they did an event where you just had to put a special code and you got in the newest ones.
And that's in Scarlet and Violet?
I think it's in my, because I think it was actually in Sword and Shield when they did that. So it's in the Pokemon Home or whatever it's called now.
Question number 8. We're almost there, guys. Can you name the 5 HMs? Ooh, we got Chris's answer first, and then Sean. Alright, going through. So we both got Cut, Fly, Surf, Strength, and Flash. You guys both got it 100%. Good job. And then question number 9. Whose PC can you access to store all the Pokemon? Damn, Sean is very quick on the answers. You both got correct. Bill's PC. And then the last and final question. Who created Mewtwo? And if you notice, like, all these questions I've included, they're all, like, all knowledge that we should know up to this point. Ooh, Sean's not sure. He has a question mark in his answer. You both have question marks in your answers. Sean said Fuji, and Chris said Mr. Fuji. We'll give it to both of you guys right now. So, let me just tally it up real quick. It should be pretty simple.
I mean, Chris already won, because I got docked on a lot of things that Chris didn't get docked on.
There's a total of 10 points that you could have gotten fully. Sean got 9.3, and Chris got 9.8.
That was just my my miss of the rainbow badge, right?
It is, so you got like just 0.12 off. Okay, well, that was our first time doing a quiz. We'll see if it was fun for the listeners.
All right, now that we have our 8th and final gym badge, it is time to return to Route 22 for the first time since we fought our rival, my rival Poo Poo to be exact. And lo and behold, you run into him again, which I think is a fun callback. But this time, he's not telling you that you need to go back and get all 8 badges. This time, he's challenged you as a precursor to the Indigo Plateau. Let's get into our fight with our rival.
I totally forgot about this last rival fight. I don't know. I just forgot about it, so I was walking through. I mean, I think I definitely held my Pokemon and just didn't expect to fight him. And then he came up. I was like, oh, darn.
And, you know, like when I was walking to this, I was thinking about the first time we fought him. Like, I was kind of wondering, like, oh, are we going to fight him again? And we did. So I kind of like see it coming, foreshadowing it. And for this one, he actually had 6 Pokemon. This is our second time ever seeing a party of 6 Pokemon. If you guys remember in the earlier episode, we did fight against a fisherman with 6 Magikarp. For Pokemon Yellow, this was his party. He had a Sandslash level 47, an Execute level 45, Ninetales level 45, Cloyster level 47, Kadabra level 50, and Jolteon level 53. And I was just thinking, I named my rival Blue, and he is quite resembling Chris's team here, because Chris also has a Sandslash, Execute, and Jolteon. So I was thinking this is good practice to try and beat Chris.
That's funny. I didn't plan that, but that's actually interesting how that came to be.
I did not have any actual notes of the battle. I think I handled him pretty swiftly. After you beat him, I did talk to him, and he said that basically that battle loosened him up, and he was now ready for the Pokemon League. But he told me I need more practice, which I'm like, what? I beat him. I've never lost to this guy, and he's still just taunting me.
I know. The note I wrote was he just lost, and he had the audacity to say, I need more practice. I mean, come on now.
I did write down my fight here just because I thought it was kind of funny. And here were my notes here. I led off with Nessie the Lapras. He started with a level 47 Pidgeot. I one-shot that with Blizzard. He went to a level 45 Rhyhorn. I one-shot with Surf. He went to a level 45 Growlithe. I one-shot with Surf. He brought out a level 47 Execute. I one-shot with Blizzard. He brings out Alakazam, and I finally switched to Purdy. Level 50 is Alakazam. I one-shot with Hyper Beam. And then he brings out his big guns, the level 53 Blastoise. And I bring out Ave, the Jolteon, and I get a lucky critical hit with Thunderbolt to complete it with a 6-move battle, one-shotting all 6 Pokemon. And that is the last actual notes that I wrote down because the rest of the game was uneventful, and I actually just recorded my footage for the Elite Four.
I mean, I wrote down my fight, but it really wasn't eventful. Again, like the most eventful thing was me not being prepared for it. But I mean, I had my Electabuzz to lead, so he took out his Pidgeot, and then I used my Dragonair to take out his Rhyhorn, or his Rhyhorn and his Gyarados, which was from Dragonair, and then I used Nidoqueen just to take out his Growlithe, and then Alakazam. It's always his Alakazam is actually kind of strong. He took down my my Flareon. And then I went with Electabuzz, and I barely took out his Alakazam. I eventually, when he went to Venusaur, I went to Kangaskhan, and again, I barely took down Kangaskhan. I think he used Razor Leaf that was crit on my Kangaskhan and went down all the way to 1 health, and then I just Hyper Beam back. But it was somewhat close, but yeah, only eventful because I was not prepared for it.
After that, we could continue our journey down Route 22. You can go to a room that you could have gone at the very beginning of the game with a guard that asks to see your Boulder badge. And that starts a little section there where you're going to have 8 different guards that are going to check all 8 different badges, which I thought was kind of a unique way to prevent you from going to the very end. I thought it was a little redundant. Also, the fact that they had to throw in a little surfing section right there to trip you up in case you don't have surf yet. But theoretically, too, you could have been going back to these guards after each badge and getting them checked off. I did think that was interesting, though. I don't think they've repeated that type of check system since. I think you just kind of go through. So kudos to Gen 1 for being a bit unique there.
I remember the first time playing Pokemon Yellow, going through that area, and I don't remember how many badges I had, but I was so young, I still couldn't even read at the time. I just remember getting to a point where that check system where they stopped me, and I just didn't know how to get past it, because again, I couldn't read, so I didn't know what they were saying.
In this small little section, I mean, I did thought it was pretty cool that you're showing all your progress that you went through the game, and it definitely feels like you're really leading up to the end of this game where you're showing them all the badges, you're getting through everything. This was also the point where I did capture a new Pokemon, Primeape, and I wrote down his Pokédex entry where it stops being angry when no one else is around. To view this moment is very difficult. So the Primeape line in Pokemon, very scary to be around. They're constantly angry. You can't really make them calm. Otherwise, shall we go into the Victory Road?
Yeah. The first thing I noticed is in this generation, you could ride your bike inside the cave, which I'm pretty sure in all the other generations you have to walk or run, or it takes you off the bike. Because I just remember I was using the bike and I went inside the cave and I expected, to be walking, but I was still on my bike. So that was pretty interesting.
I was also expecting there to be a Poke Center before entering, because I know in other gens they usually have a Poke Center before you go into Victory Road. And in this case, while I was inside, my Pokemon got pretty low, so I had to go back to the Poke Center in Viridian City. And when you do that, you then have to go through this whole process again, go through the Pokemon League before going to Victory Road. So it's kind of a way to really discourage you from leaving the Victory Road and just try to use potions and items while you're in there, because did not want to continue wasting my time having to keep going back.
Yes, this is a very frustrating cave if you're not prepared. Also with repels, I went into this just thinking, this will be great experience if I just fight every single Pokemon that comes at my way, until you also remember that half of these Pokemon are in the 20s for some reason and really don't do much for you.
This cave itself took me forever. I got so lost. I would end up leaving to heal my Pokemon, and I remember I got all the way to the end, but I didn't realize the way to exit Victory Road. And so I literally went all the way through the cave one more time, just being like, where is the exit? And so I finally realized, oh wait, I was at the exit that last time. So it was quite frustrating for me.
Just talking about the frustration in here too, I actually was able to get through the whole cave, and in the back corner, I did see that there was Moltres, the legendary bird, but I never actually got to Moltres once I completed the whole thing. I just went straight to the exit, and I was like, oh, like, I thought, like, naturally I'd just get to Moltres, so I had to go back inside and find out where Moltres was and how to get to it.
Did you go back and get Moltres before fighting the Elite Four, or did you just assume that it was unobtainable at this point?
No, like, I see a Pokemon, I need to capture that Pokemon. I can't just leave them. So I basically scoured all of Victory Road, eventually found the path up to Moltres, and I guess, did you guys capture Moltres at this point?
I did, and I'm happy to report, if you guys remember, every other legendary bird fight, I had to take 2 times to catch him. But this time, I was able to catch Moltres on my first try, so I was very happy.
Yeah, I caught Moltres as well. One thing about Moltres too, which I think this is another showing of how they ran out of time in developing this game, because I don't understand why Moltres appears in Victory Road here. Every other legendary bird has its own optional dungeon or cave or area, and Moltres is just plopped in the middle of Victory Road. And to your point, Dustin, I actually exited Victory Road ahead of time as well. I was aware you could get Moltres, so I had to go into the Indigo Plateau and go back in and catch it, which wasn't too difficult. Put Moltres to sleep. I think that they handled it a little bit better. If you guys have ever played Fire Red and Leaf Green, they moved Moltres into its own section in kind of a post-game content area, and it's a lot cooler of a section than just finding it in the middle of Victory Road, as it also appears in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu.
And it just makes you think, like, Moltres was just there, and there's all these people, all these trainers in Victory Road. No one thought to, like, go up there and capture it.
Nope.
Also, how embarrassing. Moltres knows 2 moves. It knows Peck and Fire Spin.
Going into Moltres' Pokédex, it's a legendary bird Pokemon. As it flaps its flaming wings, even the night sky will turn red. So that's our final, well, almost our final legendary Pokédex entry. We'll have to see in our next episode one more legendary. Also, just a couple of the trainers in here, once when you were like beating them, one of them said, I heard rumors of a child prodigy. So I was like, oh, like, who's the child prodigy? So I talked to him after I beat him, and it turns out that you are the child prodigy, because he mentioned, like, oh, you're the one who beat Giovanni of Team Rocket? I thought everyone had to beat this guy to even get inside the cave, because you need all 8 badges to get into Victory Road. So it's kind of weird how they would have that, as one of the trainers would say at this point. Everyone should have all 8 badges.
That's a good point. I was thinking about that earlier too. If no one knows who Giovanni is and he's always away from the gym, are people just not allowed to challenge the Elite Four because they just don't have the opportunity to find Giovanni?
Yeah. There's a fan-made Pokemon game that I won't go into, but that's one of the premises points is that one of the gym leaders has disappeared. And so no one has been able to challenge the Elite Four in like X amount of years because a gym leader disappeared, which just seems so inefficient. Like, what happens if someone wants to quit as a gym leader, but just no one is able to get that badge anymore?
Well, if one of the gym leaders dies off somewhere, they'll never replace them. Otherwise, I did have a couple other notes inside Victory Road. So one of them being, I had this encounter that ended up being a very long battle with a Chansey. Chansey had some high speed and ended up getting a couple minimizes against my Pokemon, and then started to put my Pokemon to sleep, and then started using Double Slap, which did next to no damage on my Pokemon. But anytime my Pokemon would wake up and like try and attack it, it'd keep missing. And this ended up being one of the longest battles I ever had in Pokemon, just to try and take down this one Chansey. I think it literally took me like 10 minutes just to beat this Chansey. At this point, like, I just had to take it down.
In case you didn't know, Chansey's gimmick is it has really high HP. It has abysmal attack and defense, and its special stat is okay, not great, but if you end up using a physical move against it, it's like a glass cannon. It goes down pretty quickly. So if you were using Surf or something like that, that was probably bad.
I also caught another new Pokemon in this cave. I caught Graveler, and its Pokédex entry reads, often seen rolling down mountain trails. Obstacles are things to roll straight over, not avoid. So that was a pretty cool Pokédex entry. Just there are no obstacles for Gravelers. Alright, I think those are all my notes for Victory Road. How about you guys?
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
That's all I have.
That's the end of Victory Road, and that's also the end of this episode, so thank you for listening. After this episode, we will be doing another round-robin battle in our Kanto battles to see if there's a chance that me and Chris can keep our win sprees up against Sean here after the 8th gym. There haven't been a lot of level changes, but we'll have to see who had the best 8th gym battle. In our next episode, we will be talking about our experiences leading up to the infamous Elite Four, the owners of the Pokemon League, and this is also going to be where we capture our final legendary Pokemon and actually end Generation 1. So I'm very excited to talk about that with you all. So until next time, we are the Trainer Trio signing off. Catch you in the Indigo Plateau, trainers.